DeeDee Lake. I've come to know that God is an extraordinary, creative God. He knows each of us so well that he uses different ways to reach us and to teach us. And sometimes he teaches us through scripture, sometimes it's a sermon, sometimes it's someone else. There are different things that he does that he teaches us the way that we understand. In Matthew 13 says that he teaches us in parables. God has used a few parables in my life to teach me lessons. And the lesson usually is that I need to look again. And let me share a couple of them with you. One is my husband. He loves camouflage. The man who was in the Army for 30 years. I thought when he retires, we're done with camouflage. I don't have to carry camouflage anywhere. I don't have to see it. I don't have to wear it. Nothing. My poor, loving husband, he bought camouflage underwear, camouflage sunglasses. I mean, everything. This was after he retired. And I thought, we're done. So one day I come down the steps and I see my sweet husband down there and he's like, look what I have. And he's doing this with his new camouflage shirt. And I'm like, so I get down and I'm like, really? You are not a hunter. You're not in the Army anymore, and you're not hiding from anyone. You're not a terrorist, so why do we need camouflage? About that time, I kind of looked down and realized I'm wearing yoga pants. I have drawers full of yoga pants. I have hot ones, cold ones, short ones, long ones, flowery ones, black ones. I have several different kind of black ones. Some I've never worn. I've only taken one yoga class in my entire life. So I realized that God was showing me, look again, that he loves camouflage. What does it bother you about his camouflage? It's okay. Especially when you're wearing yoga pants. So that was a lesson for me to say, take a minute and look again. Well, that wasn't the only time that God used a story or a moment to get my attention. There was a time that my husband always would wear his socks to bed, because he's from Pennsylvania, doesn't wear socks without shoes, has to have something on his feet all the time. So he would take his socks off every night and drop them on the floor. I'm sure that none of you have a husband that ever puts his clothes on the floor. But it wasn't all his clothes, it was just these socks. And I'm like, why? In certain times of the month, it really annoyed me. I wanted to, So I would try to fight it back and not say anything. Well, one time, I'm walking by, and sure enough, there's those socks again. And God goes, and I'm so righteous about it, like, I cannot believe he has those socks there again. And then God goes, hey, let me tell you something. Look there again. There are socks there every night. And that shows you, as an Army wife, your husband is home sleeping with you every night. I was like, wow. Okay, God, I got it. And then God says, wait, I have something else to teach you. Look again. There's two socks. That means that your 30-year Army career husband came home with both of his legs. To be grateful that he's there every night. To be grateful that he's whole. I needed to look again and see what God was trying to show me. And I learned it. I've never once complained about his camouflage again. I've never once complained about those socks. In fact, every day I go there and grab them puppies up and throw them in the dirty clothes with pleasure, because I know the message that's behind those socks and what they represent. Sometimes God uses drastic measures or the threat of a drastic measure to teach us a lesson. I tried to use this same technique one time with my young son, who at the time was like 9 or 10. We lived in California, and there was a boy next door that was 13 that he totally admired. And this young man would run around the neighborhood with no shirt on. Well, I'm too Southern for that to happen. Like, this is not gonna, no, we're not gonna do that. So we were constantly asking him to put his shirt back on, put his shirt back on. Well, one day, he comes in the house and he opens the door, and it was almost like one of those spaghetti westerns, where you could hear the music, there's an outline of him in the sunlight in the door, and he doesn't have a shirt on. I'm sitting at my computer, and I was like, oh, is it no shirt day? He's like, yes, it is. I thought, okay. shirt off right there in front of me. This boy grabbed his face, started screaming, and ran up the stairs. And I sat there and all my gloating, I taught him a lesson. Until I looked over and realized I'm sitting in front of the glass windows in my bra. So I was like, okay. It did work though. When I did the lesson to him, all I ever had to say was, "Is it no shirt day?" And the boy got a shirt on with no problem. Well, Jesus uses sheep, he uses seeds, he uses fishing nets to teach us stories. We can use camouflage, we can use yoga pants or no shirt days, and still learn lessons that are appropriate for today. Biggest thing, God just wants us to look again, to see the lesson that's there in front of us. When God surprises you this week, look again. Our Creator Father may be trying to teach you in that ordinary moment an extraordinary lesson. Thank you.